I recently watched my very first episode of Doctor Who, the television show. No offense to fans, but it's almost certainly my last episode of Doctor Who that I will ever watch. Specifically, I saw the first part of a two-part show that first aired May 31st, 2008. It's titled Silence in the Library. Evangelina is the first member of the crew to die, and she retained her consciousness for a few minutes. And this is what actually happens. According to a relatively recent review in the peer-reviewed literature, about 40% of people who experience a near-death experience, who have a near-death experience, also retain separately their consciousness. And then when they, quote, come back to life, when they are revived, they have a memory of this consciousness having existed. So there's ample evidence to suggest that consciousness remains, at least for a few minutes, after people die. I'm not in any way suggesting that this consciousness is an indication of life after death, of people going to heaven, or anything like that. I am just indicating that there's abundant evidence indicating that people do retain their consciousness after they're clinically dead for at least a few minutes. It's not an indication of heaven. In fact, for me, this is the very definition of hell. My consciousness remains after I'm clinically dead. I know my loved ones are in need of my assistance. I want to be able to help them, and I can't. My consciousness remains. I'm clinically dead. I can't help anybody. If there's a heaven, if there's a hell, the retention of consciousness points in the wrong direction, at least for me. Now, the really interesting part of this show that caught my attention was Evangelina's last words were stated repeatedly as her consciousness slipped away. First very strongly, and then fading and fading and fading away. And the last words she said, so maybe she was going to heaven. The last words she said repeatedly were, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. At the edge of extinction, ice cream, only love remains.